Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're feeling totally overwhelmed by just the sheer speed of modern life right now, but the idea of carving out hours for some formal spiritual practice sounds honestly completely exhausting, you are in the exact right place. Today we're exploring an absolutely brilliant, totally friction-free way to weave deep spirituality right into the fabric of your busy routine. And this is all based on some incredible insights from Thomas Alethea's 12 Steps to a Good Life.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if you didn't actually need to, retreat to some remote mountaintop to find spiritual peace? We all carry around this heavy, kind of intimidating expectation that true tranquility requires absolute silence, total isolation, or literally hours of formal meditation. But imagine for a second, what if you could find that profound sense of groundedness right in the middle of a chaotic Tuesday afternoon? And do it without adding a single new item to your to-do list. Sounds pretty good, right?
So part 1, the myth of perfect peace and finding calm in the chaos.
The modern world spins incredibly fast, doesn't it? And as it keeps accelerating, we often fall into this trap of believing that true spirituality means escaping our everyday reality. We picture this formal practice, sitting cross-legged, retreating to monasteries, dedicating hours to absolute silence. And hey, it's a beautiful myth, but for most of us, it's highly impractical. The much more accessible reality is informal practice. We're talking about finding spirituality while washing the dishes, walking through doors, or just doing your everyday mundane tasks. Seriously, validating your struggle to find extra time is the very first step here. Realizing you don't actually need extra time, that's your first big breakthrough.
But why is finding peace so hard in the first place? Well, as the 17th century philosopher Blaise Pascal famously put it, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And think about it, that was way before smartphones. We really have to acknowledge this profound, very human struggle to just find stillness. But since most of us literally cannot isolate ourselves in a quiet room all day, we need a highly practical solution, something that operates right smack in the middle of our noisy, everyday lives.
Moving on to Section 2, Brother Lawrence's Secret, a 17th century solution. Now, what's really interesting here is that to find our modern solution, we actually need to jump back in time. Centuries ago, people struggled with the exact same puzzle of how to stay spiritually connected while doing ordinary, exhausting work. Take Brother Lawrence, for example. He was a 17th century monk who worked in a super noisy, chaotic kitchen, and he wrote this: "I thought this would serve rather to puzzle me than facilitate what I sought after, which was nothing but how to become holy gods." Basically, even a monk found complicated spiritual methods way too puzzling and exhausting. He was actively seeking a simpler, much more direct way to connect.
And here is the brilliant conclusion he finally reached. Sincere desire, combined with constant practice, is far, far greater than any magic formula or complex routine. There's no secret handshake here. He learned to naturally develop his spirituality just by practicing the presence of the divine while doing the most ordinary stuff, like cooking meals and scrubbing pots. It's really all about persistent practice over time, woven right into the fabric of what you're already doing anyway.
Which brings us to Section 3, the doorway trigger, the core mechanism.
All right, we're dropping right into the microscopic, modern application of this ancient wisdom. This is a practical technique you can start using the literal second we finish this explainer. Here is the actual technique, step by step. Step 1. Use any doorway. Entering a room, leaving a building, getting into your car, whatever. Step 2. Use that physical threshold as a trigger. And Step 3. As you cross it, just silently remind yourself, my higher power is with me now. Let's actually repeat that, just to start creating a bit of a peaceful earworm for you. My higher power is with me now. It is really that simple. You cross a threshold, and boom, you reset your awareness.
Now wait a second. If the term higher power gives you pause, let's totally demystify it right now so it's accessible to absolutely everyone. Your higher power does not have to be a specific religious god. As defined in the source material, it really just needs to be something greater than yourself that has your best interests in mind. Honestly, think of it like asking a really close, wise friend for advice. It's simply a mental and spiritual space you create that aligns you with a healthier, much broader point of view.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is how this trigger actually works inside your brain. This whole concept is deeply inspired by Emmett Fox's essay, The Golden Key. Fox advises us to literally stop thinking of the trouble and immediately substitute it with a thought of your higher power. Think about it. When you walk through that doorway and say your phrase, you're actively displacing your anxiety, your trouble, all that daily noise with a moment of pure presence. You're literally evicting the worry from your mind and substituting it with connection.
Let's look at Section 4, Compounding Quiet Moments and the Accumulation Effect.
We really need to shift our narrative here. Instead of trying to have one massive, lightning bolt spiritual breakthrough, we need to see how these tiny micro moments of informal practice begin to snowball. Hundreds. That is how many times you cross a threshold in any given week. By just using this simple doorway trigger, you don't need to block out an hour of your day. You effortlessly bring a higher perspective into your awareness hundreds of times over just a few days. You don't need to set the mood. You don't need a special setting. Just the simple act of calling it to mind makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, just think about how many opportunities you have to do this every single day. Walking into a super tense office meeting, moving from the kitchen to the living room, escaping into the bathroom for just 2 minutes apiece, getting into your car. Every single one of these totally mundane transitions is a built-in reminder. It's like a completely free alarm clock for your soul, right? And it goes off naturally, dozens of times a day, without you ever having to set a timer or check your watch.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy of our source material today. Wear the path deeper by walking it sincerely and often. True spirituality, guys, isn't about those super rare, dramatic peak experiences up on a mountaintop. No, it is about this quiet, persistent, everyday practice. It's about taking those few seconds at the door to just remember that you are part of something greater, and then letting that awareness wear a deep, peaceful path into your daily life.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question. What will you say at your next doorway? Because you're now empowered, you're grounded, and you are fully equipped with this microscopic yet completely life-changing tool. So the next time you cross the threshold, what will you choose to remember? Thank you so much for learning with me today. And hey, I seriously challenge you to try the doorway trigger the very next time you stand up and walk out of the room.